Good morning, sixth graders. Today we are going to be taking notes on combining like terms. So the first part is we need to know what are the parts of an expression. So we're going to start with some definitions. So we have coefficient, constant, variable, term, and like terms. If you want to pause the video now and get these definitions written down, you can do so, or you can follow along as we go. So our first term is coefficient. It is a number that is multiplied by a variable or the number in front of a variable. So let's look at our coefficients. So our coefficients would include 3, 4, 5, 4, and 2 are all coefficients. Then we have our constants. Constants are a term in an expression that contains no variables and does not change. So it's any term without a variable. So our constants would be just, in this one is just 6. Then we have our variables. So variable is a symbol or a letter used to represent a quantity that can change or that is unknown. So in this example, we have the variables of x and y that are repeated throughout our expression. Then we have a term. A term is a number, a variable, or a product of a number, a product or quotient of a number and a variable that are added or subtracted. So each term is separated by an addition and subtraction sign. So we have 3x squared, 4x, 5y squared, 6, 4y squared, and 2x are our terms. Then we have our like terms. So I'm going to erase this. And we're going to find our like terms. So one way I like to note like terms is to highlight them in like colors. So let's say we have 3x squared. Do we have anything else to the x squared? No, because there isn't any. We have x, but it's not to the same power. So those are not like terms. So now let's look for 4x. Do we have anything else that is to x power? We have our 2x. Then we have 5y squared. Do we have anything else that is 5 or y squared? Yes, we have 4y squared. And then we have our constant. So now I can take and I can combine these like pairs. So I take my 3x squared plus, and then I usually use my next highest power. So I'm going to take, so I look in front, I have minus 5y squared and minus 4y squared. So I get minus 9y squared. Then I'm going to take my 4x and my 2x, so I have plus 4x plus 2x, so I end up with plus 6x. and then I just have my constant at the end. So my simplified version of that expression is 3x squared minus 9y squared plus 6x plus 6. So those are the part of an expression, and that is how we combine like terms. So identify if each pair of terms is like or unlike. So 5 and 8 would be like because neither of them are variables, they are both constants. Eight x and 8x squared are unlike because they are not to the same power. Twelve and 7 are not alike because one has a variable, one doesn't. They have different variables. Then we have 2m squared and 3m squared. They would be like terms. 5xy and 10x are unlike because they have different variables. Then we have 20mn and 13mn are like because they have the same variables to the same power. So let's look at another example. We have 5x plus 4 minus 2x plus 2 minus 3y. Like I showed you in my example above too, using colored pencils, crayons, or highlighters to identify like terms, operations and symbols stay the same with the numbers behind them. So if you don't have highlighters or things, another way to do it is to group them by using symbols or shapes. And so I would circle and I would box. So then I combine my like shapes. So I have 5x minus 2x, which gives me 3x. I have only one, 3y. So I have minus 3y, and then I have plus 4 and plus 2 in my constants, and I get 6. So let's use some guided practice. So I have m, 8m. Do I have any other m's? I have plus 3m. I have 13g. Do I have any other g's? I have minus g. And I have my constant of minus 8. So first I have 8m plus 3m would equal 11m. Then I have 13g minus g would be plus 12g. And then I have my constant, so minus 8. So this is my simplified expression. I can't go any further because I have no more like terms and I don't know what my variables equal. So now let's look at the second one. We have 4b and b. I have my constant, 3. I have another constant, minus 1. And then I have 4ab. So I can usually start with my numbers that have the most variables, or the variable to the highest power. So I'm going to start by writing down my 4ab. Then I have my 4b and my b, so plus 5b. Then I have my 3 minus 1, so I have plus 2. So my simplified version of my expression is 4ab plus 5b plus 2. Okay, now it's your turn to practice. So I want you to try our first one. Look at what are my like terms here and what can I combine? So my like terms in this expression are 15x minus 6x. Then I have my x squared. So remember I said we like to put our variable to the highest power first. So I'm going to write x squared first. Then I take 15x minus 6x to get plus 9x. So my simplified expression should be x squared plus 9x. 4a squared plus 7a plus 10 minus 3a is your next one. What would that be simplified? So we have 4a squared. There's no other a squareds. We have plus 7a minus 3a. There's no other a's. And we have our constant of plus 10. So I'm going to combine my like terms. I take my 4a squared as my highest power. So I write down my 4a squared. And I have 7a minus 3a. So I have plus 4a plus 10. In our next one, we have 11p plus 5x minus 2p plus 8x. What would that expression be simplified? So we have our like terms of 11p minus 2p, 5x plus 8x. So we have our variables to the same powers, so I'm just going to work from left to right. 11p minus 2p would be 9p, and we have 5x plus 8x equals plus 13x. Then our last one, we have 4 plus 8x minus 2 minus 8x plus 6. What would that expression be simplified? So we have a constant of 4, constant of minus 2, and a constant of 6 plus 6. Then we have 8x minus 8x. So if we look at these two, we have 8x minus 8x. Those are going to end up canceling each other out. So we no longer have an x variable. So now we have 4 minus 2, which is 2, plus 6 would be 8. So this is the only one where we have a final answer because those variables canceled each other out. And we end up with an answer of 8. So that is combining like terms. Remember, if you have any more questions, reach out. Otherwise, you can start your practice.